Now, all this week, Channel 4 News is going on the road. We'll be travelling from the southern tip of England to the north and up into Scotland as Channel 4 News pops up in your area. Today, Cathy and the team are in Foy in Cornwall. Cathy.
Well, welcome to Cornwall. We're in Foy for the first ever Channel 4 News pop-up, hearing your views and concerns and reporting on stories in your neck of the woods. And there's been a lot of talk about economic recovery, but for many in the southwest of England earning the minimum wage or close to it and paying pretty astronomical property prices or rental costs, household finances still feel pretty tight. But just down the road there are two schemes which could make recovery a reality for vast swathes of Britain. Our economics editor Faisal Islam has been to Devon.
The day trippers take in the sun on the South Devon coast. It's the height of the summer holidays in Teignmouth and no one's talking economics. But here in the district of Teignbridge, the squeeze is everywhere. Typical middle-earning workers take home just £311 per week, £100 less than the national average. So the district is in the bottom 10 in the country for weekly wage packets, and last year they fell a further 4%. Seaside towns have always been low-wage towns, with industries like hotels, hospitality, tourism run off minimum wage labour. What's new now is that difficulty of keeping up with rising prices, of squeezed real incomes, is stretching across Britain and across the income scales.
It feels quite scary. My wages don't cover my bills, or they just about do.
Janet Parker works at a supermarket in Teignbridge. Huge water, electricity and housing bills leave her with just £15 per week out of her weekly salary, and there's no option to increase the 28 hours work she's given. Even then, it's the next generation with even larger housing bills that she's really worried about.
If you listen to the talk in the canteen, it's about the childcare that women are providing so that their children can go to work. Because they can't afford the childcare that's out there. They're juggling their lives, their working lives, because they need to eat as well, with helping their children to survive as well.
So there's no recovery as far as
No, I don't think there's a recovery at all. I haven't seen it in my pay packet.
Here and across the country, wages are largely set by employers. Low-skilled workers, unions, have very little bargaining power to raise wages at or just above the minimum wage.
At the moment, plenty of job seekers, but sometimes not skilled in the areas that we need them.
At this recruitment agency in the southwest, Steve Williams says the gap between wages and huge costs like housing are getting wider by the day.
Wages are going up, but going up slowly, and they never really keep pace with where they need to be in terms of house prices, because lots of people move down here from other parts of the country. They don't need to worry about wages, they're cash rich, they can buy a house anyway, so wages don't keep pace with house prices.
At Exeter Council's recycling sorting plant, there are nearly 30 workers sifting out plastic and paper and cans, trying to help the environment and earning close to the minimum wage of £6.19 an hour.
If things keep going up, we need to keep wages going up as well, otherwise it's just not going to work.
John Selfridge has been working here for 11 years and has felt the squeeze.
Obviously, like clothing, food, trying to find... I'd quite happily go to 4 or 5 different shops just to find what was the cheapest tea at that time. And yeah, it's really hard on what you could buy, what you would eat, planning your meals ahead of time just to make sure you're not wasting anything.
So the challenge for Britain is how to get living standards and real wages rising again. Each of these bales of fizzy drink bottles is worth £75 for recyclers. This 2 bales, half a tonne, worth £150, or 3 days' worth of wages for the people that actually sort these bottles out. In a high cost of living area like Exeter, this is a vivid example of a broader trend across Britain of the squeeze between wages and living standards. But it's also an example of what can be done about it. Exeter's Labour Council has decided that all of its employees will now get the so-called living wage. That means a pay rise of up to 15% for dozens of low-paid workers here, funded by cuts to executive pay.
Now it's time to go home.
I caught up with John at home in Exeter with his wife Barbara and daughter Chloe. The living wage means that from January he gets £100 more a month in wages.
We want to get on the property ladder ourselves, and this is also going to help try and save up for a deposit for that. And just be out and about more with Chloe, not having to worry, we can't go out this day, we can't go out then.
Politicians and the government won't stop going on about this cost of living crisis and the squeezed middle. But when you dig into it, the real crisis is in housing costs, to rent and to buy. And not a great deal's being done about that, except in a place like this here in East Devon, with new roads and new homes, and they call it Cranbrook. The new town has just opened near Exeter Airport, complete with bypass road, school, community centre, a nearby science park and a train station.
Welcome to Cranbrook, East Devon's new community.
But it's taken extraordinary ambition over a decade and a half, £40 million of government funding and overcoming objections from thousands of locals. Are these houses really going to lower the housing costs for kind of ordinary people from Devon?
Yes. I mean, 40% of what's coming through at the moment is what is classified as affordable, which is local housing for local people. And contrary to rumour, it's going to be for the people of East Devon and Exeter.
Will Britain's recovery provide rather slim pickings for working families? In Devon, where wages are low and property prices sky high, the living wage and mass house building may point to wider answers well away from the West Country. Faisal Islam, Channel 4 News in Devon.